So I'm Dr. O out here to talk to you about science, and I want to prove to you that science is a verb, not a noun. Early on, when my daughter was young, we were eating at a family's house, and we were eating chicken, and she said to me, as she handed me a bone across the table, "Dad, can we science up this bone?" Well, there we were with a bunch of folks eating, and I just couldn't stop myself. I said, "Yeah, let's talk about that bone." And so for 3 or 4 minutes, we talked about that bone, and everyone at the table talked about that bone. Led to a great conversation. Now, I'm not suggesting that you interrupt meals with other folks to embrace science, but you can embrace science anywhere, anytime. And as a parent caretaker, this is what I'm here to talk about. Sciencing it up. Make science a verb. How can you do that? Well, first and foremost, when you go on walks, teach your children to use all their senses. Their sense of smell, their sense of feel, their sense of their observational skills, obviously. Hearing is a big one. We forget about hearing. Listen to the wind. Super windy out here today. It's freezing. Certainly that, birds calls, things of that nature. So from the youngest of ages, that's another great thing about this. With science and, creating science, making science a verb, kids don't have to read to start to embrace science at a very early age. Okay, so getting back to walking around the neighborhoods. You might be walking the neighborhood and you can point out things in the trees. So you look up, you look down, there's a bird's nest right there, and in the summer you normally wouldn't be able to see. I don't know if you can see it, but the simplest of things can be done as parents and caretakers to encourage kids to become scientists. We all have experienced ourselves probably interest in science when we were very young. I think that's a natural inclination, a natural curiosity. Somehow that gets squashed over time. So by sciencing it up, by encouraging kids when they look at the stars, encouraging kids when they see something unusual, when they see a squirrel, when they see a bird. Birds are great examples of organisms that you can observe on a daily basis and take advantage of. Another thing is to carry baggies. I always had baggies with me. My kids were little, they're bigger now, but we use it for collecting things. Start a little area in the kid's bedroom, or if they don't have a bedroom, somewhere in the home where they can accumulate artifacts, small rocks, things that don't necessarily spoil or make you uncomfortable. But again, I think that's part of the equation as well, is embracing a little discomfort on the caretaker level. Collect dirt, collect snow. Here's a great example. Here's snow today in my yard, and I brought out a little plastic container. Collect that snow. Don't be shy. Might have a little mud in it. Oh, it's kind of frozen. But here's a chunk of ice. Sorry. Bring that chunk of ice, let the kids watch it. Talk about temperature, talk about freezing, talk about solid liquids and gas. Talk about the need for snow to nourish the plants that grow in the spring. So again, you don't have to be a science expert to do some of these things. I don't consider myself a science expert. I love science, but it's more about nourishing kids' curiosity, converting science into a verb, and enjoying this natural world. Thanks for listening. Dr. O out.